started taking a copper supplement, and I'm going to talk about why I'm doing that in this video. If you have been following along with my journey, you'll know that I have had high ferritin. I had a ferritin test about 4 or 5 months ago now, probably 4 months ago now, maybe 5, and my ferritin level was at 540. Now I had that test done because I had a inkling that intuition that my ferritin was too high. I was experiencing a lot of inflammation in my body that kind of didn't make sense, and my little spidey senses were going, go and get a ferritin test, go get a ferritin test, go get a ferritin test. And so I did, and my ferritin level was at 540. So I've been on a mission to lower my ferritin since then, and so I have now donated blood twice, and I'm taking resveratrol. So normally donating blood is a great way to lower your ferritin. Let me explain, I'll back up a little bit just in case you don't understand. Ferritin is a protein that binds iron, and it's used by your body to store iron away so that it can't cause damage. When we have too much iron in our bodies, it causes oxidative stress and a whole lot of damage. And so ferritin is the body's way of packaging that iron up so that it doesn't cause damage. So the higher your ferritin is, the higher your iron levels are likely to be. Even though you might have a iron test where they're testing your blood and it says that, your iron levels are fine, or it might even say that you're anemic, that there's not enough iron in your blood. If your ferritin levels are high, it means that your body is trying to save you from iron, too much iron. And so I'm working to lower my ferritin levels and hence my iron levels. And so one of the best ways to do that is to donate blood. So by donating blood, normally our levels, people's levels will come down about 40 to 50 points after each donation. My levels between my first donation and between my original test. So I was tested, then about a month later or a couple of weeks later, I donated blood. I can't remember, it wasn't long anyway. And then I left it for 2 months and was tested again. And so it was probably about 3 months between the tests. My levels had gone down by 240 points. And so I'm putting that down to the resveratrol that I'm taking and the blood donation. So I've donated blood again, second time, and I haven't tested again yet. I will be testing again probably in about a month's time, or around the end of this month. It will be 2 months from my donation. And the reason for leaving it 2 months is you want to leave it until your blood and iron levels and everything kind of steady. And it takes a couple of months to do that. So that's kind of where I'm at with my ferritin, right? Now, I have other ongoing symptoms. So I've been eating a carnivore diet, or mostly carnivore, ketovore, like living carnivore. I vary. For about over 3 years. So it was 3 years in May. So June, July, August, September, October. So 3 years and 4 months I've been eating this way. And there's a few things that I've still been kind of struggling with. And then there's been some things that have been changing or seemingly maybe deteriorating a little bit still. And I've been questioning why these things are happening. So have been really struggling to get the weight off, and I had my insulin levels tested recently, and I am still pre-diabetic according to my insulin levels and my HOMA-IR. So my HOMA-IR was 4.16, which is really high, pre-diabetic basically, and that's after 3 years with almost no carbohydrate. So that happens. It happens to other people, not just me, but it's kind of unusual. It's not the norm. Most people lose weight and their insulin improves eating, low to no carbohydrates. So that's not happening for me. And I have also been noticed that I've had massive health improvements with this way of eating, but I've noticed that my eyesight has been deteriorating over the last probably 12 months to 2 years, my eyesight seems to be getting worse, and I actually went and I got new glasses, these glasses probably, I don't know, 18 months ago, because what happened was I was driving. I was in the car by myself. I was driving. Most of the time, hubby and I are together, and he drives most of the time. But I was driving this day by myself. And what I noticed as I was driving is that I was feeling pressure in this right eye. And so I'm driving along, and I'm covering my eyes one at a time. Not both. One at a time while I'm driving, to see what the difference is between them. And because I don't need glasses to drive. And what I noticed was that the right eye, where I could feel, it was a feeling like pressure or just something not quite right. And what I noticed was that eye, when I covered my left eye, I had double vision in that eye. I could see two vehicles coming towards me, and the signage was really blurry with that eye. So that was why I went and had my eyes tested and ended up with these glasses here, which are my first pair of proper glasses, because prior to that I only had reading glasses. These are progressives, which I'll never get again because I don't like them. But I got these, and so that was probably about 18 months ago. Now, my eyesight, I'm pretty damn sure, those glasses have never been quite right anyway, but I've never felt like they were right. But it feels like my eyesight has been changing again, more since then. Now, this right eye, what I had noticed, so when I went and got tested, they told me that I had the beginnings of a cataract, right? Didn't tell me which eye it was. And I would have expected that my carnivore diet would improve that. But what has happened is that this right eye has been gradually kind of getting worse. And I thought it was the cataract. So I don't know, as I said, I don't know which side the cataract was. I haven't been back. I've been thinking I should go and get my eyes tested, and I haven't done it. But this eye, what I've been noticing in it is that it was getting foggy. So if I covered my left eye, it was like I was looking through a fog, and it was really noticeable in certain lights. So if I was outside earlier in the morning or later in the evening, the fog was quite marked. And also if the sun was shining through the window or something, it was like, when you're driving in fog and the headlights glare on that's what I was getting in this eye. And it's been concerning me because it's been getting worse really quite quickly. But I even though I kept thinking I should go and get it checked, I didn't really want to, because I guess I don't want to go through any kind of mainstream treatment for it. Now, the funny thing with it was that the fog was in the centre, and I noticed that as it was getting worse and worse, I noticed that if I looked down or anywhere in my peripheral vision, it was clear. That wasn't foggy out there, it was just foggy in the middle. And I thought, I don't know whether cataracts do that, because most people with cataracts, they seem to not notice that their eyesight is getting worse until they're told that they have a cataract, and so I kind of suspected that it was something different that was going on with my eye. So anyway, on to the next part of the story. We'll come back to my eyes just shortly. I came across a gentleman named Morley Robbins probably a year or so ago online, and he talks a lot about copper. And he talks a lot about iron as well. So he talks about how iron, he thinks that most people are probably way too high in iron because so many of our processed foods have iron added to them, breakfast cereals and things like that. And he thinks that most people are deficient in copper, and that the information that we're given about copper and how much we need is not correct. And so when I first came across him, he's an absolute wealth of information. The knowledge and his recall for studies and all the information is just amazing. There's a lot of his interviews on YouTube, so you can search for Morley Robbins and listen to his interviews, and he has very interesting information. So I listened to quite a few of his interviews at that time, read his book, and then kind of forgot about it. I had a bit of a fear, like a lot of people do with copper, and me probably a little bit more so because I was diagnosed with something called pyroluria when I was 50, and when I looked into and started researching what that meant and all the information, I came to the conclusion, looking at my blood test results and everything, that I was high in copper at that stage. And so I actually went on a low copper diet and was taking supplements to actively try and eliminate copper from my body at that point. And I started taking high dose zinc because that's part of the pyroluria protocol, and had a lot of problems when I first started. But yeah, and so I'm fully aware of the problems with too much copper in your body, right? So I looked at Morley's info, read the book, and then just kind of forgot about it. But he's popped into consciousness again just recently, and I've been listening to some of his information again, and I'm actually going to review his book again. Now, when I started listening to him again, some of the things that have been going on with both myself and my husband could potentially be a lack of copper. And so the more I kind of dug into it, the more I started to think, yeah, this actually could be a thing for us. Now, I've spoken recently on a video about the carnivore diet, and the potential part of the reason why people's results may vary so much is the differences in different people's versions of the carnivore diet. Okay, so while some people start eating this way and just absolutely thrive, others don't. And my thoughts around that are that part of the reason for that, apart from what we come into this way of eating with, is that depending on what we're eating, each one of us, our nutritional status can be quite different. So if we take copper and look at the carnivore diet in the lens of getting enough copper into your diet, if somebody comes onto carnivore and they're eating some liver every now and then, and they're eating lots of seafood, and they love oysters and all that sort of thing, they're going to be getting plenty of copper in their diets. But you get somebody like myself and my husband. My husband eats no seafood at all. He won't eat any. I eat very little. I make myself eat some sardines every now and then. I just discovered yesterday that I can actually eat cod liver, which is fantastic. And so I'm going to try and get that into hubby as well, because it doesn't even taste fishy at all. But anyway, I digress. So we don't eat those sorts of things. I've never eaten oysters. I don't think that I would like them. And so our copper intake is very low because we live on mostly muscle meats, chicken, and he has some sourdough bread and dairy products, and that's our diet. And so we are probably not getting the amount of copper that we need. And so when I kind of revisited this, I'm like, both of us, although we've had health benefits, have got ongoing issues. So, and when I looked into the symptoms of copper deficiency, there was quite a few things that matched, including the eyesight issues. So my husband's eyesight has been deteriorating as well, he feels. So this is something. So when it comes to copper deficiency symptoms, I'm just going to read some out. There are actually a lot, and it can affect gut health. So that's been me. I've had this kind of ongoing issue with my gut and my bowel. Copper can affect that. So things like extreme tiredness and weakness, just lack of energy. Lack of energy can be to do with copper. Increased risks of infection, that's not a thing. But connective tissue problems, that's maybe something that's still been going on for both of us. loss of balance and coordination, nerve damage, pale skin, so that hypopigmentation where you get patches of skin where the melanin has kind of disappeared, abnormal hair and skin and greying of hair can be copper, weak and brittle bones, high cholesterol. So they're all common symptoms, or symptoms of copper, a lack of copper in the body. And when you think about it, they're actually all symptoms that a lot of people get with age when you run through those symptoms. And then I've got some others that I've made note of here somewhere. I'm just going to have a look at my computer. Where are we? Hang on. Back up. Oh, here we go. So, tiredness and lack of energy. Because I still feel like my energy kind of goes up and down. Feeling the cold and thyroid symptoms. So that's potentially a thing for both of us. Eyesight. Early greying of hair, as I said before, white pale skin. So with the eyesight, that loss of central vision and blurring in the centre is a thing with copper deficiency. And so when I saw that, I was like, oh, okay, so this definitely could be a thing for me and probably for both of us. So copper is needed for collagen formation, and my husband still has a lot of funny things going on with his skin. And his hair, like his hair doesn't grow. He's got a long beard, but it kind of stays there, and his hair, I mean, his hair hasn't been cut since 2020, and it's not long, he's got a ponytail, but it's not, doesn't seem to grow. So that could be a thing. And so yeah, that's what we've got on there. All right. And then hubby and I both had high ferritin. So as I said, mine was 540. When he was last tested, his was about 300, which was just in the range that the lab gives, but it's too high. I mean, it should be well under 100. So the copper helps with iron regulation in the body and helps your body to be able to use iron. So this is one of the reasons why when you're low in copper, you can be low in energy, because your body can't use the iron that's in there. So you might have huge amounts of iron in your body, but your body just can't use it because it doesn't have enough copper. So what I have found is we started taking, so I had a look at Morley Robbins' product. So he has a number of supplements these days, but he's got one for the copper side of things, and I had a look to see what was in that, and it has 2 milligrams of copper bisglycinate. It has some spirulina and some liver powder and some boron, and I think it has one other ingredient. I can't think what that is, but I thought, okay, so I'll get some copper bisglycinate, I'll get some spirulina. I've already got some dried liver powder in the cupboard, and we off and on take boron in the form of borax. So I thought we'll start doing what he's got in his supplement, and so that's basically what we're doing. So I ordered the copper bisglycinate supplement, and I'll link to what we're taking below. So it's 2 milligrams, and that's what we're taking a day at the moment. And we started taking the spirulina and the liver powder pretty quickly, and we started taking the boron as well. So that we'd been taking those probably about 3 or 4 days before we started on the actual copper supplement. And what I noticed within a few days is this eye has improved probably 60% in a few days. So I'm pretty damn sure that I'm on the right track with this whole copper thing, with this eyesight problem. And I mean, I still have a bit of a fear around copper. We've been so indoctrinated into this whole copper as a dangerous thing, and you don't need much, and you get it from your diet, and da 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 da. Even in the carnivore community, you'll see people talking about how you shouldn't eat liver because you end up copper toxic and everything. And that can be the case if you are eating too much of it. But 100 grams of liver a week or an ounce about an ounce of liver a week. I think it's 100 grams. It's kind of what's recommended. The dried liver powder supplement that I have, they recommend 6 of their capsules a day. We're taking the equivalent of about probably 2 of their capsules a day, along with the spirulina and the 2. So we're taking 3 grams, a teaspoonful of spirulina, and 2 milligrams of copper bisglycinate. The fear around that, as I was saying, you kind of worry about getting too much copper, but listening to Morley's interviews, so he's being interviewed obviously by some functional medicine practitioners who have incorporated his information into their practices and are finding that their patients are getting benefits and are not having any problems. They're not having problems with their zinc getting too low or anything like that. And so, and obviously, Morley's obviously been taking copper probably for years, and a lot of the people who have been following him, when you look at the reviews of his book, when you look at the comments underneath the videos, you start to get a picture of people's health improving by adding copper into their day. So, to test, because that was my thought as well, maybe I should get our copper levels tested, but the only test that I can access here is just a basic copper test, either urine or blood. I can't order a ceruloplasmin test, and so that's just not available. And even if we don't have a doctor, we don't go to doctors, but even if we did have one, unless it was a functional medicine practitioner, they probably wouldn't order a ceruloplasmin test, because they seem to class that as only being to rule out Wilson's disease. We're just going to go by how we feel. Now, both of us have been feeling really good. The first morning after I took the copper supplement, because I took it at night before I went to bed, that next morning, I felt like I had a whole different energy kind of happening in my body, and both of us have been finding that we are sleeping really well and waking up with energy and just feeling better. So that is a good sign so far, and I'll be interested to see where my ferritin levels are at. I don't know whether this will make a difference with my ferritin or not. It possibly will, because having enough copper, if that's been the problem, having enough copper in my body then allows my body to use the iron and to use it effectively. So we will see. I have no doubt that I'll get some comments from people who will be fearing for my safety taking copper, but I'm pretty onto it with watching what's going on in my body and in my husband's. He's not good at watching himself so much, but I'm good at watching him. So all the signs so far are good. The signs are that we're absolutely on the right track. So if you've got any comments or questions, if you take copper yourself or anything, just pop that below. Comment below, because I'd love to know if you've had any experience with this and anyone's thoughts. I'm always interested to know what people think. I'll do more updates in the future with this whole taking copper and the changes that we experience. I'm hoping that it helps with my blood glucose and my insulin, but we'll see. And so, if you want to know more about my thoughts about taking supplements on the carnivore diet, you can watch this video next.